for Dalaran!
Alright, hello everybody. What I'm going to do in this series is make a mage deck. I'm going to explain my choices, explain the strategy behind it, and then sort of play it in an attempt to reach master status. At the moment, I'm a 1-star diamond player, so hopefully it won't be too hard, but we'll see. So first step, of course, is to make the deck. And that's what this whole episode is going to be, just making the deck. So I've decided to name the deck for Dalaran, after the human nation of Dalaran, specializing in mages. So, the idea behind this deck is going to be doing direct damage to our opponents. Sort of hang on, control the board for as long as possible, and just deal major damage to your opponent's head and take them out. So, to achieve that, what we're going to be using is a lot of plus spell power, guys. Whoops. Spell damage, is that what it's called? Yeah, so you'll see these are the... I think this is all the characters that have plus spell damage in the game at the moment. Let's just add them all to our deck before even looking at them. Alright, so the way spell damage usually works is you're actually going to want to play the character and then play the spell almost immediately afterwards. And that's because there's so much removal in this game that your opponent is usually going to be able to, prioritize removing your plus spell damage characters. Because, they don't only get hit by a fireball for 10 because you managed to get 4 spell damage guys out. To that end, the Arcane Mage is probably the worst of all the plus spell damage guys. His cost is just too huge, and he's not even that useful as just a normal minion, because he's got sort of this awkward attack and defense. So, we're going to get rid of him right away. The Azure Drake, which is not a common, it's an expert card. You have to actually craft or pull these from boosters in order to get them. Costs 100 dust. I prioritized getting this like almost right away when I saw people playing it against me. But this is a great card because it's a nice beast, 4/4, right? It's not huge, but the major advantage is its battle cry, draw a card. So this doesn't even cost you a card. And as a mage, you always want to keep card advantage. So Azure Drake, probably one of the best cards in the game. This is definitely the first things that you should be trying to get with your dust if you're trying to play a mage deck. Also really good Warlock decks. Alright, so Ogre Magi is a 1 mana less cost than the Azure Drake. Same toughness, but no spell, no card draw, right? So you can see that difference. The Ogre Mage is okay. I mean, it's still a nice creature. It's not too expensive, right? It can still deal out some damage. Let's leave him in for now, and if we need space, we can drop him. Alright, so the Ancient Mage. This is another card that you have to actually draft. Costs the same as the Azure Mage. Not many people play these. But I've had quite a bit of success so far with it. I think people don't really like playing them because you have to have other creatures on the battlefield to make use of it, right? So you're going to have 2 other creatures. And in direct damage decks, usually what you're doing is actually slowing your opponent down with things like Frost Nova or Ice Block and things like that to prevent them from attacking you in order to draw into the cards you need. But in this deck, what we're going to do is just try and get as much damage as possible. So for now, we're going to keep the mages. I'll explain what these combo with in a bit, but for now we're going to keep the mages. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, then we'll remake the deck later on, tweak it a bit, get rid of them, but for now, yeah, let's keep them. Dalaran Mages. What could a Dalaran deck do without Dalaran Mages, right? So 3 mana, it's not that expensive, you can play it and still play other spells, right, in the same turn. Its attack and defense is a little bit awkward, but it's a nice drop. So like, let's say you're on turn 2 and you have the coin, you can drop this 1/4. An enemy mage can't just blast it with its power. You can sort of trade off with like those Silverhand recruits created by paladins. So I actually quite like it. Kobold Geomancer is extremely solid. It's the cheapest spell damage +1 character in the game. I don't see any reason not to include it in the deck for the time being. These are really nice, dropping at 2, and then maybe cast like 2 spells. that effectively makes him, effectively he's adding 2 damage if you can do that. Right, that's really good. So we've got our plus spell damage characters. That's a third of our deck so far. We're probably going to eliminate some, but for now that's good. Alright, so let's just clear this spell damage thing. Okay, so now we need our direct damage. Arcane Missile is a great source of direct damage. I know that it's random, but it's so cheap that you're going to be able to drop maybe 1 or 2 characters and then cast it, and then that 1 or 2 characters with the plus spell damage means that you're going to be doing so much more damage. I've had games where I've done 10 damage with Arcane Missile right to somebody's face because they had no creatures. So Arcane Missile, absolutely, no reason not to have it. Skip over these for now, talk about them later. Arcane Explosion, okay. This is not commonly played in mage decks. A lot of people say it sucks because it does so little damage, but remember, we're doing spell damage +1. So let's say we play like a Kobold Geomancer and then an Arcane Explosion. That's going to be 4 mana, and I'm doing 2 damage to all enemy minions. If we get into a favorable position, we can really control the board with Arcane Explosion quite cheaply. So we're going to be going with that for now. Frost Nova is a classic way to stall the game, but we're not trying to stall the game. We're trying to just control the board and nuke our enemies. Alright, Frostbolt is a definite must. 2 mana, 3 damage, you can boost it up, you can attack your opponent, it's not just against minions. Really good card. We're going to talk about these later. Alright, so Coin of Cold. This is a good stalling card, but it's also a direct damage card, and you can use it to, again, if you have the plus damage guys, you're going to be up in that damage. You can use it just to stall for a turn in order to get a big attack, so we're definitely going to be going with that. Fireball, absolutely classic, right? Huge damage. There's a certain point in a game when you're playing as a mage when you have enough direct damage that you know that you can just let the opponent attack you and just sort of fireball the next turn, right? Where you're totally comfortable. If you play mages sort of at the beginning, like I did, or rather against mages, it's really kind of a pain in the ass when they're sitting there with like 7 or 8 cards. You think you're doing well, and then the next turn they just annihilate you with a couple of spells from their hand, right? And Fireball is definitely one of those spells that can do that. We're going to talk about Polymorph in a second. Alright, so I've only got 1 Pyroblast, unfortunately. These things cost 400 dust to craft. The thing is, it's not necessarily good to have 2 Pyroblasts. I'm going to try 2 Pyroblasts when I get them, but a lot of strategy I've read on forums say that it can be kind of unwieldy because it's so much mana. 8 mana is a huge amount of mana. You can't really play too much else that turn. I mean, maybe not. I'm definitely going to try 2 when I get them, but since I only have 1 net right now, we're going to just stick with the 1. Alright, so Flamestrike, this is a nice board clearing spell. It's 3 more damage than Arcane Explosion, but it is quite a bit more mana. I theorize sort of that Arcane Explosion in this kind of a deck, if it runs effectively, can totally take the place of Flamestrike. But Flamestrike is such an important spell, even like late in the game, when you're sort of like just top decking, or your opponent is just top decking, you can use Flamestrike to just annihilate single creatures if you need to, if you absolutely need to. So we'll keep it. We'll put it in the deck for now. We'll see what we need to move around for space. We do only have 7 cards left. Alright, so let's go back to the cards that we skipped over. Ice Lance is really interesting. 1 mana for 4 damage, that is huge. Of course, you have to freeze them. And right now, there's only a couple of ways to freeze your actual enemy, not just their minions, right? You don't want to be using this on minions. And the way to do that is, of course, the Frostbolt. That's what we already have in the deck. The other option is the Water Elemental, but we got to play him, and then we got to attack with him. That's a lot of work. I used to have this guy in this deck, and it was just not consistent at all. The other option is a guy called the Frost Elemental. Let's just go to him. Where is he? Isn't he a 5-drop? Oh, it's because I don't have him, so... Okay. Let's just find him. Frost Elemental. Let's just use the search function. Oop, not Frosty. Alright, so look at him. He costs 6, so that's a pretty big investment. And when he comes into play, he freezes the character, and he's a 5/5. I'm going to try this guy out eventually. Not right now, because I don't really have that dust to spare. I mean, I could craft one, but I'm really saving up for my next Pyroblast. That being said, I don't actually think it's going to be effective. I mean, he's nice, 5/5 for 6. That's okay. But I mean, if your only use is to combo with another card, this is going to be too inconsistent. Okay. Why doesn't this properly clear? It's kind of buggy. Alright. So, let's go out of crafting mode. Okay. So, Iceland's too inconsistent for the deck at the moment. Mirror Image. This is an absolutely excellent card. You can stall the game a bit. That's probably the main use of it, right? Because you got the Taunters out. You can save yourself like a smack in the face for 5, depending on what they have out. But I want to talk about another use of this. So if you Mirror Image out, you have 2 creatures, right? They're 2/0/2 minions with Taunt. Now, we have our Arcane... Where's our Ancient Mage, right? Our Ancient Mage, you can plop them in between those 2 guys, and they suddenly get spell damage +1. Both of them. So this guy effectively gets spell damage +2 if played in the appropriate situation. So this is one of the combos that I really like. This is 1B games. Obviously it's kind of expensive. 1 and 4, 5 mana. That leaves you 5 mana, which is enough for maybe an Arcane Bolt and a Fireball. But think of this, Arcane Missile rather. An Arcane Missile is going to do 5 damage then, and your Fireball is suddenly doing 8 damage. So 13 mana damage is quite significant. That's why I like that combo. And I think that the Ancient Mage is effective. Another thing about the Ancient Mage is the +1 spell damage that he grants stacks with any other spell damage +1. So it's okay to play him next to an Ogre Mage, for instance, because he'll get that spell damage +1 and another spell damage +1. Of course, it makes him a target, but you know, everything's a target in this game. Alright, so Sorcerer's Apprentices. I usually put 2 in this deck. Make your spells cost 1 less, right? Really good to combo out with the idea that you want to be playing your creatures and then casting spells in the same turn just to make sure you have that spell damage +1 before they get killed. So I think that's an excellent card for this deck. It is a huge target for enemies, of course, and the 2 damage, or 2 health rather, dies to a lot of things. That's absolutely true. So I'll drop it on turn 2. People often prioritize against it, but if you're dropping threats and your enemy's responding to it very vigorously, that's good for you because they're using their resources. If you can get off an attack with it, 3 damage is nothing to laugh about. That's a Frostbolt. That's good. That's why I like those Sorcerer's Apprentices, or Sorcerer's Apprentices rather. Polymorph. Okay, so I used to put Polymorph in this deck, but it's not a damage spell. It's just a straight up transform a minion spell. So I'm not sure it's the greatest spell in the world. It's great because it can take out these like massive monsters that might show up, but we should be able to generate enough damage to just burn them down or freeze them for a turn and then win the game later. So for now, I'm going to leave the polymorphs out. I have a mirror entity because I pulled it from a deck. I didn't craft it or anything. It's not for this deck. It's a secret, right? So it's good for a secret deck, which I'm going to eventually build. But for now, no. Anything on this page we got to talk about? No. So water, I'm not a little too inconsistent. Alright, so we're looking good, right? We got 3 slots left. Now what do we need? Now what's really good is you want to get to your cards as fast as possible. So you want draw cards. One of the best draws is the Novice Engineer, right? You just throw it down, you get a 1/2 and a card. You do it if you can't do anything else, right? Now, we got 1 card left. We could go with something like... where is it? That 4-drop Gnomish Inventor, right? 4-drop, draw a card. Kind of expensive. It's kind of nice because it's a 2/4 and you get a card out of it. Is there anything better? I think we're going to go with that for now. Just to see how it works. We're gonna come back. We're gonna play a few games. We're gonna come back and see what needs tweaking. But for now, I think that's a solid start. All right. I hope you enjoyed this little deck construction session. Now we're gonna play some games. All right. So now we're gonna actually play our deck. I'm actually going to switch to unranked mode, just because I don't want to hurt my rating right now with an relatively untested deck. I don't think anybody really understands right now how the ranking system works. I've seen a lot of confusion about it on the forums, but just to be safe, we're going to stay in unranked mode for the time being. Alright, let's find an opponent. So in my previous plays with this kind of a deck, I've noticed there's basically two ways that I win. One is, it works, the combo goes off, I throw huge damage, I often don't even get touched. Other times, what ends up happening is I control the board with direct damage, and end up killing the guy with the creatures. Sort of death by 100 cuts from tiny little mages. Either one works, as long as we win, right? Alright. Priests are not the best matchup, but, let's see what happens. Alright, so this is our one Pyroblast. We're not going to be able to play it for a long time. We could keep it and hold it until we could play it, sort of just because we like this card so much. But I think that's a little bit too risky, especially against a priest, because they can just keep healing, right, and keep their health up. Pyroblasts are really good for the final blow, not really for knocking the guy down. Right? If you hit the guy from 30 to 20, it's not that big of a deal. That's a bad use of Pyroblast. You should be killing people with Pyroblast. Okay, so these are both really solid. This is just a little bit too expensive, right? It's not useful right off the bat. We want to try and get some direct damage to control the board. And do we get it? No. Alright. We're overwhelmed with spell damage +1, and we got our one Novice Engineer. Alright, so I could coin into a Novice Engineer, but I don't think that's a good idea. Priest usually develop the board pretty slowly, and so do I, so I'm comfortable waiting. And he's healing me, alright? Thank you. Okay, Cone of Cold, this is going to be good for when he gets some creatures out, but for now... Nice. Alright. Let's see what he has to offer. Nope, he's targeting it. Alright. One thing I want to say about what he just did is he targeted my creature with a spell from his hand, so I now know that he has a spell in his hand that targets minions, right? It's probably that Shadow Death card. Or Power Word Pain. Shadow Word Pain, rather. That kills 3 or less. Creatures that have 3 or less attack. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright. So, we got 3 mana. Might as well get out the mage. I think next turn, this guy's gonna get Shadow Word Painted to death. He's like, oh, I don't want him to develop +1 spell damage characters on the field. Nope, Chillwind Yeti. Alright. This is looking rough now. How do we take care of a Chillwind Yeti with what we have in our hand? So we do 2 damage with this, and freeze him. That's not great. We could get rid of Kobold, hope he doesn't take with the Mage. Well, we're probably going to try and trade with the Kobold, with the Ogre Magi, rather. Probably try and trade that up next turn. Alright, like throw a Fireball and trade. But who knows? He might, like, take somebody out and then heal, maybe? Oh, no, he's doubling his health. Alright, see, this is the situation in which, yeah, look at this, in which Polymorph is good. Yikes, yikes. So he just doesn't care, he's just swinging for my face. Alright, so taunt, right? This is gonna save us for a little bit. So let's get our 2 taunters out. And let's get some spell damage going up. So if he doesn't have any way to remove my creatures, right? then I've got a 5 damage Cone of Cold. I mean, that's not great, because this is a 10-10, which is huge, right? But it'll weaken him enough that we can get rid of him with something else. But right now, we gotta get rid of this thing. So, boom, and boom. Swing at him for a little bit of extra damage. What's he gonna do? Ouch! That's exactly what we don't want to happen. Jeez, look at that damage. Alright. So, if we use the coin, we can do 8 damage. And then we can kill him with that. I think that's what we're gonna have to do. So, coin for 7 mana. Flamestrike. Kill him with the mage. The mage does nothing now, right? He already did his battle cry. This, of course, isn't great. We're at 8 health. That's terrible. We traded a lot of life for a slight card advantage, because he played a couple of cards to get him up to that health, right? Light's gone, alright. He's probably gonna... what's he gonna do? He can't boost his health? It's usually what you see.
We must cleanse the
so he
sun
boosts his health a bit. Okay. So, we need to deal with these guys. Our Cone of Cold is now doing 5 damage, right? So, 3, 4, we can actually play an Ancient Mage or an Ogre Magi. Or we can go Kobold, Sorcerer's Apprentice, Cone of Cold. How do we want to do this? We don't need to get out too much spell damage, so let's get the Ogre Magi out, because then he's another body on the field. And let's freeze and take both of them out. So you can really see the spell damage +1 coming into effect. And then we swing. Not bad, right? Imagine if we pull that Pyroblast, we're going to be doing what? Pyroblast will do 15 damage. So, right now, we can top deck and win the game. That's a good position to be in as a mage. Just top deck, win the game. That's not great. It's not great for us. Ooh, 8 damage. So, we could freeze him, just absolutely. Or we could do damage to him. Actually, let's see. Let's do some math. So, I got +5 on the field. That's +6, +7. Right, so 7 + 10. I think we can kill him. Yeah, we can kill him. So, we do this. Alright. We beef up there. We might as well beef up even more. Then we freeze for 11. Then we swing, and for Dalaran! So that's how that deck's supposed to work. That went exactly how it was supposed to go. So I'll give him a well played. I don't know if that went off. Great. So that was the first run of that deck, and it worked out. Let's play some more games. Alright, and we're back. Our last game we had a victory against a priest. Let's see if we can replicate those results against another class. Hopefully we can play a couple of different kinds of decks, not just, not another priest or something. Hopefully a warlock, actually. This deck seems to work well against warlocks because they hurt themselves so much that they're like doing half your job for you. But I mean, it should be solid against any kind of a deck. Probably your biggest nightmare is a hunter who's doing like a beast deck, because they can just... Oh, there we go. We got a warlock. Because yeah, hunters basically only play one deck at this point in the metagame, which is just play like a million beasts in one turn and charge at you, which you can't really prepare for, right? You just have to keep swinging as fast as possible. But let's see what we're going to do here. This is such a good card that I really don't want to drop it. So we're not going to. We'll just keep this. We're going to believe in our top decking skills. Two mirror images. It's probably more than we need, but let's get started. So it's important to remember that warlocks have board clearing spells, Hellfire, so you don't want to over deploy things like mirror image. There's just no reason to. Okay, so we could freeze him. Yeah, let's freeze him. Just get rid of him. We don't want him to start picking off, right? That's basically one card for one card, so it's not a big deal. It's sort of like a neutral position to be in. Remember, he doesn't have 6 cards. He only has 5 and the coin. Oh, we got an enemy Geomancer. Alright, so this is kind of unfortunate. Alright, let's just do some 1 damage to him. Can pick him off next turn. He might kill, he'll probably kill a mirror image. Hopefully he doesn't have any crazy spells in his hand right now. Though again, with the mage deck, you don't have to worry about getting down to too low life. You want to trade life for card advantage when you can. So if he were to like drain life me or something, I wouldn't be too concerned. Come on, Gul'dan. Make your decision.
Give me a quest.
Well, this is a problem. And we don't really have a way of getting rid of it right now. Questing Mage is not great because, I mean, the only person that's going to benefit is the mirror image, and it's probably going to die next turn. So, let's just get rid of the Kobold completely. We'll have an Azure Drake out next turn, and then we can probably just trade. It'll probably be, yeah, a 4/4 by then, I guess. Oh, what's he going to do? Alright, so he's getting rid of it, makes it a 3/3. Yeah, he's going to draw a card, and he's going to swing for 3. Okay. So again, this isn't ideal, but it's okay to take some damage. So Flamestrike. That's nice. If we can hold on for 2 turns, we can just annihilate the Adventurer. But right now, let's get the Azure Drake out now. Right, we get the nice card draw. We can do another one next turn with a mirror image. And that will stall till the next turn, which will have a Flamestrike. Or we can just trade. Depends on what happens. I couldn't believe this guy's not going to become a 4/4. Probably a 5/5, because it seems like he's depending on it. Alright, so that counts as a spell, which is going to be changed in the next patch. It's not going to be a spell anymore, because it just combos with too many things like that. Alright. So I mean, that brought him down to 4, so that still trades. But of course, we've got to deal with this guy. But, like I said, we're going to do Azure Drake. Then we're going to get the Taunters out. So, assuming he can't get rid of these Taunters, we should be able to Flamestrike and clear the board next turn. It's a good thing we kept those. And look at his health, right? He's taken quite a bit of damage already. So this Pyroblast is going to be massive when it lands. So we already know that he's attacking him. We saw that happen. Yeah. So look at this. This is absolutely perfect. We could not ask for a better turn. So, can we kill him with Cone of Cold? 3 damage? No. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so we can cast those both. That'll bring it up to 5. He'll still be alive. If we could get it up to 6 damage, that would have been nice, but no. So Flamestrike. Boom. Gul'dan is going to shed Warlock tears now.
Job's done.
So, next turn, we probably win. Unless something crazy happens, like I don't even know. If he Hellfired, it would damage him to the point that just a plain Pyroblast would take him out. So he's got to eliminate both of my minions. And even then, oh look, he's doing our job for us. So I like playing Warlocks. I also like playing as Warlocks. Is this going to give? Yeah. Alright, excellent. So that's 2 for 2 with this deck so far. I'm not noticing anything hugely wrong with it, but it needs more stress testing. So, that was game 2 of this deck. Next video will be game 3. Alright, and we're back with game 3 of For Dalaran. We've won the first 2, first against a Priest and then against a Warlock. In both cases, the plus damage strategy has worked out. The combo's gone off, and we've done lots of damage. There was a pretty clutch Flamestrike in the last game, which guaranteed a win. Doop doop doop. Come on. Uther. Alright. This is going to be a different kind of deck to try this against. I like that. Alright. So 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices is too much. It's too much. We don't need that. This is a good card to keep in case it's kind of like a weenie paladin deck. Oh, did you see that? He actually just dropped all of his cards. So we should expect him to have not a great starting hand. Or he's fishing for something specific. Like a Sword of Justice or something. This isn't terrible, it's not great.
Well met.
Where's Greetings? Greetings. Okay, we don't want to do anything on this turn.
I hope you like my
Alright,
invention.
that's fine. We're going to be doing the same thing. Or are we? We're not. We're going to be playing the Sorcerer's Apprentice, rather.
Someday I'll be just like you.
So, what's going to happen here? Is he going to attack me or is he going to attack the minion? If I was him, I'd be attacking the minion. Oh, especially now that he boosted it. So they trade. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So now turn 3, what do? We probably want to get rid of this because it's kind of large. We have enough damage to kill it, so we do. So next turn already, see, we have a Kobold Geomancer that we can play in conjunction with an Arcane Explosion. Alright, let's see. That's not terrible. Yeah, so we can already use this combo if we want to. I'm not sure if I want to, though. Because, remember, you shouldn't be afraid to take a little bit of damage. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to smash that for 1. Now I'm going to end my turn. So these are now, like, in threat of death from the Firebolts. He might also develop his board a bit more and let me have a more efficient Arcane Explosion. That'd be nice.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
So like he's committing to this sort of play here. Yeah, 4 damage. That's not a big problem.
Reporting for duty.
So we got our turn 5 here. So look at this. We can go Kobold Geomancer, coin, Arcane Explosion, take everything out. So we're gonna do that. So in this situation, order might matter, right? Because we're going to be eventually getting a Ancient Mage out. So let's put the Kobolds together so we can drop the Ancient Mage in between if he comes out. The Mana Crystal. Let's get the Arcane Explosion. So see how that works? It's nice.
You're sure?
So he's got 6 cards. Those are all actual cards. He doesn't have the coin because I had the coin. It's a good thing to remember. I could swing at him for 5 if he doesn't have a Taunter out. See what he does. We've got this nice removal, right? So this guy we can kill. Not a problem. We can also Flamebolt that guy if we wanted to. We got a Fireball as well. So look at this. We can do 8 and 5 damage. We can do 13 damage this turn if we wanted to. But we don't necessarily want to do that right now. We do want to kill this guy, because we don't have to deal with a Defender. Or a Taunter, rather. Now, how do we want to trade? Do we want to have this guy? No, we want to just trade this useless 1-1. Because all she is a token, just like him, basically. So now, we got 4 mana. We can get the Gnomish Engineer to get a card. Nice, nice. So you see, Ancient Mage, we can do some massive damage soon. And the danger, of course, is if he has Consecrate, that would kill both of these guys. But the Ancient Mage, if I drop him, I'll probably be giving that plus spell damage to something like a Gnomish Inventor. We also have a Flamestrike ready to go, if we let him develop the board. This is a problem. This is health gain. Who's he going to go for? Creatures or me? Go for me, go for me. Nope. That was not a good choice. All that was a 2/4. It didn't have any abilities, right? Alright, so we got 7 mana. We got an Ogre Magi. We got an Ancient Mage. If we had 8 mana, I would drop the Ancient Mage between the two, and then the Fireball will be doing 10 damage. That's a Pyroblast for 4. That's amazing. But we got 7 mana, So let's just kill him off. Let's get our Drake out. Get our card. Nice, nice. Do some damage. We're probably going to start casting fireballs and stuff next turn. I wonder... He's probably going to do this. Since, yeah, that's what he did last time, basically. And I don't think that's a really good move. Well, actually, yeah, it's good. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, he's got a taunter out. That's fine. We can probably freeze him next turn.
Reporting for duty.
Which would also kill the token, which is nice. Oh, we could just Flamestrike. Okay, let's see. So can we actually get rid of him? So if we put this guy in between, we'll have a total of... We won't have enough damage, so we'll be doing 5. We got 2 Flamestrikes.
I wonder.
Yeah, let's just Flamestrike him. I want to get those attacks up every turn. 15, like, he is hurting. He's really hurting. With the proper top deck, we can just win next turn. Alright, if we get another Fireball, we win. If we get another Freezing Touch, is that what it's called? We win. So, good position to be in.
Get behind me.
Alright, Taunter, that's fine. It's weak enough that we can Cone of Cold it, right? Yeah, so this is beautiful. Like, he just develops his board, and then we just get into a position where we destroy him. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, we could win this game any number of ways, but let's do it like this.
Sometimes I forget things.
Okay. Look at that Pyroblast, 14 damage. Okay, so we're gonna Cone of Cold, do 5 damage to all these guys, or, yeah, 5 damage, is it? Yeah. Throw that Firebolt, might as well. Bring him down to 10. So at this point, he's dead. He has to kill me this turn. Because next turn, even if he wipes my board, I Pyroblast him and win for 10. He might do that big heal, but if he does the big heal, I think that's 6 mana. I forget the exact name of the card. I think actually Lay on Hands. Yeah, 6 mana, Lay on Hands. He gets 6 health back. That leaves him with 4, which he has to use to wipe my board. Otherwise, again, I win. I don't think there's anything he can do. So we might as well catapult him. I used to think you couldn't catapult again, but you actually have to crank it back first. It's a pro tip. No, this is nothing, buddy. This doesn't do anything for you. He's thinking the Taunter is going to help him, right? Because Hogger develops or generates Taunters at the end of his turn. So Taunter would save him like 2 life, right? Because I'd be swinging for 4. Well, that's actually pretty good. He'll get up to 12, but what's he going to do? If he attacks this guy, I'm going to be so mad because he just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so 12 damage. Explosion. Boom! Victory! 3 spell power damage. For spell damage +1. Good stuff. 3 games in a row there. Working on that golden mirror image. Boom, boom, boom. Good stuff, good stuff. Alright, that was game 3. 3 for 3. Pretty good.
Hey! Save the whale!
Not affiliated with Save the Whales.